What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. So, our Vice President Kamala Harris has been going strong on the campaign trail, and she went on Shannon Sharp's podcast, Club Shay Shay. As we know, it's blown up within the last year. It was doing well before, but after the Cat Williams interview, I feel like it's gotten a lot more mainstream attention. So the fact that she went on there was huge. And she talked about everything from advice that she would give her 18-year-old self to her policies now. Because I feel like a lot of people, for whatever reason, whether they're busy, life is in the way, they're not making it a priority, are not really paying attention to what she's saying in terms of policy moving forward, what she plans on doing with her administration. One huge difference that she is going to make that's not the same with the Biden administration is she's going to put a Republican in her cabinet. I don't think that I can remember someone being so intentional. And I feel like she's doing that in order to, have someone who has a difference of opinion, who, can give her a vantage point that perhaps differs from hers and the rest of the Democrats that surround her. But I want to play this clip because, she's saying that she recognizes that there is misinformation about her out there. And so she came on that podcast with Shannon Sharp to address it. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
We don't lack for hard work. We don't lack for good ideas, but we do lack for information about the help that is available. Mm-hmm. People want to build wealth.
Yes.
And intergenerational wealth.
Correct.
And I want to help people do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know what folks want to be able to take a nice vacation from time to time, have nice Christmas gifts for their kids under the tree.
Some blacks say the problem that they have to you is that you're making political promises and that you're just pandering. The problem that I have with that, it just seems like only black people pander. Like when other candidates go on shows and they say they're going to do this, they're not pandering. They're telling you, laying out their elaborate plan on what they're going to do. But it seems to you, when you promise it, if I'm president, this is what I'm going to do in the first 90 days. This is what I'm going to do. My administration is going to do while I'm in office. You're pandering. How do you get through to those that says, look, this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. If I'm elected president, these are the policies, and they will lead to meaningful and impactful change.
Sadly, misinformation out there about
Yes.
who I am and what I've done, because if people are informed about fact, they will know that almost everything that I'm talking about doing as president is built on a foundation of work that I've been doing for years. If you look at my work over a period of years, my focus again on something like maternal mortality is longstanding, which directly impacts Black men and Black women.
Right.
And the Black family. And again, look, Donald Trump is never going to relate necessarily to the kind of folks that I'm talking about who on the ground just need to be seen and heard. And then let's fix the problems. Let's address the challenges to let them not just get by, but get ahead.
I love that, right? Not just get by, but get ahead. That's perfect. One thing that she says and she promises that she's going to do in her presidency, which hopefully, she gains in the next week, is the fact that she's going to give a $25,000 tax credit to first-time home buyers. That's huge. That is huge. She's talking about expanding, the Affordable Care Act, as opposed to Donald Trump, who wants to just cut it all together. He said that he has a concept of a plan. Like, what is that? And the fact that people still see or find that acceptable, the fact that, his policies talk about tax cuts for the rich and not focused on the average American, layperson, or the middle class, is concerning. Kamala Harris is, she's focused on, like she said, building wealth. a lot of people talk about how they thought that, Donald Trump helped when there was COVID and he signed his name to the stimulus check, which he's the first president in history who ever did that. And one thing I can say about Donald Trump is he understands branding, right? He's put his name on not just the checks, but all, his buildings and all the things that he's been selling throughout his career. And so while it was from Congress, a majority Democratic Congress, by the way, Joe Biden and presidents past, they did not feel the need to put their name on any type of stimulus check in our nation's history. But Donald Trump, I guess he knows the American people in that regard, right? Like he comes from the entertainment world. He comes from The Apprentice. So in that regard, him signing his name to that check, people, have that name recognition and they automatically ascribe credit to him when in fact it was Congress who legislated and who passed those stimulus checks. So in this next quick clip, it's only about a minute, but she talks about, just clearing up that misinformation as well, that myth that Donald Trump is the one who, gave people that $1,200 when in fact it was Congress. He just recognizes the power of name and branding recognition.
Let's clear up certain myths.
Okay.
You know those checks that went out?
Yes, those skimmies.
Right. Right.
Stimulus check.
Yeah, I know. Well, right. Yes.
You got to be full. Stimulus, but they call them skimmies. Okay.
The reason those came about is because there was a Democratic majority in the House of Representatives and Congress. Mm-hmm. People like Maxine Waters, people like Hakeem Jeffries, right?
Yes.
Who did the work of pushing to say, people need help right now and we need to send out checks. There was a whole lot of opposition to it, including from Donald Trump's White House.
Yes, even him. I think he was resistant to it at first.
Yes. That's why those checks, remember, Congress holds the purse.
Yes.
So really, Congress wrote those checks. But then Donald Trump, unlike any president before or after, decided he put his name on those checks.
So therefore, people thought
Donald Trump, they gave me that check. And so let's clear that up first and foremost.
Okay.
See, and that's the power of branding. If nothing else, people are going to remember that name at the bottom of that check. That's all that a lot of people cared about, which is crazy. But I'm glad that she went on, Shannon Sharp's podcast, and I'm glad that she cleared it up. I just hope that people hear her and, that they recognize that it was Congress. It was our, House of Representatives, like she said, pushing through the opposition of a lot of Republicans, including Donald Trump, who didn't want people to have that money. They're not advocates for working class citizens. I don't know how. I guess it goes back to branding. They're talking about real Americans, red-blooded Americans, but the truth is, despite Donald Trump pretending to work at a McDonald's and riding around in a garbage truck. Talk about pandering for votes. Oh my goodness. He was not raised as a middle class, working class American. He comes from a very wealthy background and he does not have a good track record when it comes to, finances. The fact that he went bankrupt several times, the fact that he even bankrupted a casino, which essentially is one of the most lucrative and easiest businesses to run. It just speaks to, his financial, and I'm not even starting to talk about his ethical and moral character. That would take all day. But like I said, I'm glad that she went on I'm glad that our Madam Vice President went on Shannon Sharp's podcast. I'm glad that she cleared up, the stimulus check misinformation, her policies. She talked about advice that she would give her 18-year-old self. They talked about, going to HBCUs. She talked about her mother and her family and just really going into her heritage, her love of, music, when she has the actual time to, to listen to jazz, Miles Davis, um, Bird, Thelonious Monk, and then Stevie Wonder sang her happy birthday, which was amazing this past October 20th on her birthday. But I mean, to me, there is no one in this race, particularly, that is more qualified than our Madam Vice President. And so the fact that she has gone around the country making her voice heard, answering questions, putting in the work, really speaks to, her stamina, her longevity, her work ethic, and her ability to get things done. So I appreciated her going on Shannon Sharp's podcast. You guys, let me know if you watched it, or if you think that there was anything that you would have liked to have, you know, heard from her that he didn't ask. I thought it was a pretty solid interview, but I'm ready to hopefully have this election over and in our favor very soon. So, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.